Welcome into the show, everyone. I'm Julian Sador alongside Sports Director Trayvon Miles, Brandon Bossert, and Drew Williams in just a bit, and also a surprise guest analyst joining us in a moment, but I'm not going to give away your surprise just yet.
Yeah, welcome into the only live and local show giving you all you need to know about sports here on the shore. It's a big time.
It is a big time week, guys. We've got playoff season has arrived, fellas.
Finally,
We've got championship in Delaware, but we have to start with the playoffs first.
We do have to start with the playoffs. Gentlemen, we've been talking about it all season.
Here it is.
And we're finally here. So let's start things off in the 3A in a win-or-go-home playoff matchup.
That's exactly right. Easton and Bennett in a tight matchup tonight. And I tell you what, the Warriors student section, it was win or go home for them too. They were fired up to get into this game tonight. Bennett's Jordan Williams driving, hitting the layup. He kept Bennett in this game. Ryan O'Connor, the quarterback, coming right back, getting the ball to fall in. Warriors by 4 going into the fourth. A little later, O'Connor again getting to the cup, doing all he could do. But Williams also, as we said, keeping Bennett in this game, keeping him afloat. He had 13 of his 24 in the final quarter.
Big
a little
time
later,
performance.
Ja Pierce battling through the contact. He's going to get 3 the hard way. Easton starting to pull away in the fourth.
That's right, but Bennett not quite done yet. Daryl Turner Jr. with the rock going all the way to the hoop.
Sophomore.
Easton calling timeout to reset. And the Warriors were just 2 for 8 from the line in the first half, but they hit 10 in the fourth.
Not bad.
Easton defeats Bennett tonight 61-55. The Sea of White storming the court tonight after the game. And then here's Ryan O'Connor about his team's performance.
Oh, my goodness.
We work hard in practice. Our coaches are hard on us, but we know that's for the best. And we've been trusting each other more these past few, months, honestly. It was rough in the beginning, but we got it all together. So now it's playoff time, and records don't matter. Our coaches got in our butt a little bit at halftime. We were like 1 for 11 from the line. And we just know it's just a matter of focus when we're at the line, and that's what we did. We focused up.
And you see the leadership there from QB1 for Easton right there. You can see he's calm and collected. But I want to talk about not football, basketball.
Yes.
What did you see from this Easton team, and what can they do going forward?
Well, I first want to say you got to give Easton credit for winning, but I think it's a disappointing loss for Bennett.
Really?
If we're being honest, all year long, I think their coaching staff was able to beat average team. We think Easton's an average team. That's why you got the matchup you got. But I think it was a disappointing loss for Bennett.
Wow.
Well, Bennett's going up to Easton. You saw the student section packing the house up there. So a 6-point loss to me isn't all that bad for Bennett, especially being a 7-win team. And like you heard from Ryan O'Connor, he said his team's been getting better as the season's been going on. And I saw them earlier this year, and tonight they were much better. And then the fourth quarter, they were very cohesive as a unit, passing the ball around, eating up the clock. And one thing, though, we mentioned that they made 10 free throws in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
They also missed 10. So if you're going to go out,
the highlights made that look good.
Right.
Okay, I got you.
So if you're going to go out and beat Northeast, you got to clean that up as well, and you also have to play pretty much a perfect
But gentlemen,
game.
I asked both of you a question. Can they make a run? That's the question there.
I don't know. We don't know much about Northeast, but I think they're 17-3 for a reason. I'm going to leave it at that.
Yeah, they've pretty much dominated across the bridge, so it's going to be a very tall task for Easton.
Absolutely right.
All right, we're going to toss it over to Drew Williams with more from around the Bayside.
That's right. We got more action, right? More 3A playoff action. Stephen Decatur hosting Chesapeake in that 3A region. The Seahawks, well, they were fired up and ready to take on that Chesapeake team. And right off the bat, Decatur was on fire from the opening tip. Check out the nice ball movement from the Seahawks. It leads to a baseline dunk from Drew Howeisen. Big force for the Seahawks in the first half. And then the defense starting to come alive as well. Kobe Higgins with the quick hands, able to keep his dribble. He's taking it all the way to the hoop through the contact for the N1. Well, Chesapeake, they did just enough to hang around in this ball game, though. Ethan Can out on the left wing. He's going to spot up and knock down the triple to keep things close. But just way too much Decatur in this one. Off the rebound, Hawise is going to throw it up to Churchill bounds. He's going to throw down the monster dunk as Decatur seizes this with a final of 66-58. Speaking of monster dunks, Shaquan Williams and Snow Hill, the 4 seed, taking on North Dorchester. Well, Williams getting after it early. He's going to miss baseline initially, but going back and getting it in. Finished with 28 points and 21 rebounds. And he got some help in this game. Ira Bain's going to make a nice, pretty move through the teeth of the defense. Gets the floater to go. North Dorchester doing just enough in this game. Jaheim Copper, he's going to get the rebound. Goes up and puts it right back in there. Keeping things relatively close. but Williams just too much in this game tonight. He's going to get the ball, go baseline, drops the thunderous hammer, guys. Another big-time dunk for him, added to his highlight reel. Snow Hill, they move on with an 83-82 win. And sticking in the 1A, Colonel and Patterson Mill. Winner takes on Joppatown. Well, the Colonels, they're going to get it inside to their guy. Carter Ferguson, he had 8 points, doing just enough to get it in. And then, of course, it's not a Colonel highlight without that man, Deontay Dickerson, feeling it from downtown, pulling up and knocking it down. Number 5 with 5 in the first half, 22 overall. But the Huskies, they bite back. Kyle Luddy from the corner, able to spot up and knock it down. Patterson Mill retakes the lead. But Colonel going back to what works, working in the paint. That's Elijah Palmer. A nice little move to the rim, looking inside. He gets it to fall. The Colonels led by 4 at halftime and explode in the second half as they roll with this one at 68-43. And of course, it's some girls playoff time as well. Stephen Decatur getting involved, taking on Northeast as Abby Yesko is going to miss the initial shot, but Maya Garner's there to get the rebound and put it back in for the N1. And then pretty work on the offensive end as well. Nesko is going to work the give and go with Shelby Rosemond. Rosemond's going to get the bucket, and Decatur, they win this one big, 64-45 over Northeast. And then transitioning in Snow Hill tonight, the Eagles taking on Wicomico. Warriors hanging tough after being down. Tiara Thomas comes away with the steal and gets the basket to go. But the home team, they're not being denied tonight, folks. Maria Murray, she's going to get the loose ball, go the other way. The Eagles, they advance to the section semifinal with a 50-31 win. Guys, we're up and running, and let's send it back to you at the desk with, I believe, a special guest.
That's exactly right, Drew. Thank you so much. All right, we got a couple more scores to get to you. Joppatown officially ends the high school career of one Jay Sean Freeman. A big night scoring, as we said, as usual for Freeman, but the Trojans go down on the road. Exactly right. Cambridge also getting a big victory over St. Michael's, but you touched on it. St. Michael scored 40 points.
40 points. That's
how
interesting.
you do it in
What's
the season
going
finale,
on with
baby?
Cambridge after that Y-High loss? Moving on now, Wicomico and Washington. This one was tied at halftime. Wicomico goes on to win by 18. And then Mardella and Crisfield, they play tomorrow. The winner takes on Wicomico. So it'll be interesting to see if we see a Wicomico-Crisfield rematch.
That is going to be very interesting. All right, before we dive into the playoffs any longer, we got a special guest, former Maryland Eastern Shore and Bethune-Cookman coach Cliff Reed. Thank you so much for joining us on Delmarva Sports Insider.
Well, thank you. The pleasure's all mine.
That's exactly right. All right, Cliff's been in the area for a while, checking out some local teams. One of the games you were at was this past Tuesday. You were able to see Coach Butch Waller and his Y-High tribe looking for their 3rd straight Bayside championship, taking on a team you're familiar with, the Vikings of Cambridge, for a Bayside championship. And Cambridge kept things close early in this game. Vijon Ashley is a phenomenal player.
Very phenomenal. He was really in attack mode early on.
I think so. Also in attack mode was this guy, Taiwan Hardy, banking in a 3. Coach, what do you think about Taiwan?
Very emotional, very fired up, and he backed up his talk.
He sure did. Logan Middleton keeping the game close. Cambridge knocking down the tray ball, but Y-High would pull away in the second. Jordan Butler, 16 big points off the bench. Now with seconds left in the half, Hardy one more time, the exclamation point. Y-High up 13 at halftime. We go to the second half. Cambridge on the comeback trail, although late. Vijon Ashley and Logan Middleton were able to keep things going, and they almost got this game really closer than what people expected.
Yes, they did. They were relentless and playing hard, but the size and athleticism of Y-High was just a little bit too much.
Yeah, you touched on it. Jeremiah Barkley there with the bucket, and there it is. Raise up another. Y-High wins their 3rd straight Bayside title by a final of 78-64. Coach Waller getting the 12th Bayside title in school history. Coach, you've seen Cambridge pretty extensively. We talk about Y-High all the time on this show. What did Cambridge look like on Tuesday night, and what are you expecting going forward?
Well, I thought they played pretty well, but they weren't able to maintain the pace of the game the way they wanted to and be able to rebound and deal with the size. I watched them against Easton as well. A game or so before that, and Easton's size was a little bit of a difference, and you saw it again versus Y-High. Early on, they were in attack mode. They looked like they may dethrone Y-High, but that size and athleticism, and then they were making shots as well and couldn't control tempo.
Yeah.
So if they can control tempo and rebound the ball, they'll be in good shape.
I think so, yeah.
I think Y-High was also working as a team that night, and that's something that Cambridge really hasn't seen this season is a cohesive team like Y-High.
You know, Cambridge also got a couple injuries that we talked about as well. But I think 1A is going to be very interesting. Coach, we were talking about it in the sports office. We've got a lot of questions, but we got a loaded 1A, Brandon.
We definitely do.
We talk about it all the time. What do you think about a potential Cambridge versus Crisfield matchup? You were at the first matchup, which Cambridge came back and won.
Yes, I think it's going to be exciting, and those kids on both teams are looking for it. I hope they don't overlook their opponents, and they can get to this game. And it's going to be a fantastic game. And like I said before, what we did, what Cambridge was able to do was control tempo, and then they matched their toughness and their energy, and they were poised down the stretch to come back and beat them.
I think that's one of the most important things is being poised. Brandon, you touched on 2A. We think Y-High is going to run away with it. We know they have Parkside on Tuesday and a potential North Carolina or Queen Anne's matchup on Thursday. What do you see about other 2A?
Well, that's one thing about 1A is what I want to talk about for right now. One thing that Coach mentioned here is not looking past your opponent. We saw Wicomico and Washington were tied at halftime. That's something that we would never expect to see here in the playoffs, but Wicomico luckily turned it on in the second half. But Crisfield versus Mardella. Mardella's got 3 really good players on that team. If Crisfield doesn't watch out, that could be another tight ball game.
And Mardella actually had the game close in Crisfield the last time they played, so that's interesting.
And then in 2A, I really don't think anyone's going to challenge Y-High. I mean, they got to go through Parkside, which I don't think is going to be that much of a challenge. And then you got North Carolina and Queen Anne's. If Queen Anne's really battles down low and keeps the defense going throughout the entire game, maybe they can keep it to 10. But we're looking at another Y-High regional championship in the 2A.
Decatur and Kent Island looking like they'll match up in the 3A.
Yeah, rematch of the season opening game.
Yeah, Coach B.J. Johnson told us on Shop Talk he thinks they stole that game. But Coach, you also said you've seen Easton quite a bit. What do you think it's going to take for them to survive and advance into another round?
Their inside play has to be stellar. And the guards have to, it's a guards game this time of year. The better your guard play, the better you're going to fare in tournament play. The guards have to play well, and the bigs hold down. They're not real big, but they were real physical.
Yes, they are
they
very
were real
physical team.
And tough, and so they played well versus us, but their guards have to be stellar as well.
High school, you get a lot of football players. That is what you're seeing down low. All right, a guy that knows a lot about tournament runs, Coach Cliff Reed. Thank you so much for joining us
Coach.
on
Thank you,
Delmarva
gentlemen,
Sports
very much.
Insider. All right, that is going to do it for the Bayside. When we come back, we're taking things to Delaware.
To the 302
Trey. Crown on the line in the capital city. Cape and Woodbridge girls battling it out. That and more when we come back.
My name is Javon Pindell from Parkside High School, and you're watching Delmarva Sports Insider.